You know, sometimes an entire season can feel like it just boils down to a single day. For Liverpool, January 30th, 2026 was absolutely one of those days. It was like a perfect storm of pressure from every possible direction. On the pitch, in the physio room, and in the crazy world of the transfer market, it all just slammed together at once. So let's break down this one 24-hour period that really put Liverpool's entire season right on the brink. And it all kicked off with a really stark warning from the man in charge, Arne Slot. He gets into his morning press conference and just drops this ultimatum. And let me tell you, this wasn't your typical manager speak. Oh no. This was him drawing a line in the sand, a crystal clear message that the time for screw-ups, it was over. Done. So why such an intense message all of a sudden? Well, here's the cold, hard fact that was driving everything. On that morning, Liverpool were sitting outside the Premier League's top four. Now, for a club this big, missing out on the Champions League isn't just a letdown. It's basically a crisis. Right, so this ultimatum was the first big pressure point, and it was a direct shot at the team's recent sloppy form. They'd been dropping points, conceding late goals. It meant their season was now being decided by the absolute thinnest of margins. And Slot wasn't being vague about what he wanted either. He laid out 3 clear, non-negotiable demands for the rest of the season. He wanted laser-focused defensive concentration, much smarter game management to see out wins, and just ironclad tactical discipline. This was basically a call for a complete mental reset for the entire team. And to really get a sense of the urgency, just look at this stat that was flying around on January 30th. As the month was ending, neither Liverpool nor their next opponents and top 4 rivals, Newcastle, had a single league win in 2026. 0. A big fat 0. A stat like that turns a regular match into this massive, high-stakes, season-defining showdown. Okay, so demanding perfection is one thing, but trying to achieve it when your squad is stretched to its breaking point, that's a whole other challenge. And that brings us to the second major pressure point of the day, the team's growing injury list, which was making everything the manager wanted to do way, way harder. So the official club update that afternoon was, well, a mixed bag. On the one hand, bad news, key right-back Jeremie Frimpong was officially out for a few weeks and Joe Gomez still wasn't ready. But on the other hand, some good news. Ibrahima Konaté was back in training, a huge boost for the defense, and Curtis Jones was back in the mix after being sick. And you see how this all connects, right? A thinned-out squad, especially at the back, just dials up the volume on the manager's message. When you've got fewer players to choose from, the pressure on the guys who are on the pitch becomes absolutely immense. Every single pass, every tackle, it all carries so much more weight. As if all that wasn't enough drama for one day, there was the third pressure cooker bubbling away. The frantic last-minute chaos of the January transfer window. With that deadline just hours away, the rumor mill absolutely exploded. I mean, this timeline really shows you just how fast it all escalated. What had been a pretty sleepy transfer window for Liverpool suddenly burst into life on the 30th. It really felt like the club's entire strategy was shifting in real time, with that clock just ticking, ticking, ticking down. And then, boom, we got confirmation from the guy who knows everything, transfer guru Fabrizio Romano. He reported that, yep, Liverpool were actively looking at the market for a right back. This was a pretty big deal, a clear sign that Frimpong's injury and the team's bad form were forcing their hand. But hold on. The transfer drama wasn't just about who might be coming in. A completely shocking story started bubbling up about a potential exit, and it involved one of their own, homegrown hero Curtis Jones. Yeah, reports out of Italy were claiming Inter Milan were in direct talks for a loan-to-buy deal, with this number being thrown around as the potential price tag, 40 million euros. For a fan favorite, a key squad player, to be linked with a move this late in the game, it was a genuine bombshell. Okay, so let's pull back and connect all these threats. You got a manager feeling the heat, a squad hit by injuries, and this last-minute transfer chaos. When you look at it all together, you can see how this one day created this powerful story of a club stuck right between massive pressure and all this untapped potential. It's the perfect way to describe it, isn't it? A pressure cooker. Liverpool was stuck right in the middle of one. All these different forces, bad form, injuries, market madness, they were all building up and coming together. And in that kind of environment, you just know something has to give. It forces a moment of truth. And this contrast kind of reveals the club's weird split personality. Because in the Premier League, they were struggling, inconsistent. But in the Champions League, they were a completely different animal. dominant, tactically sharp, and already safely through to the next round. It's like a tale of two very different teams living inside one club. And speaking of Europe, on that same day, news also broke about who they might face next. The draw laid out their potential opponents for the round of 16. So while they're grinding through the slump at home, the massive prize of a huge European night against a team like Atletico Madrid or Juventus is just sitting there, right on the horizon. So what you should really take away from all this is how one single day, January 30th, became a perfect snapshot of Liverpool's entire season. The struggle at home versus the dream in Europe, the intense, crushing pressure versus this incredible potential, all of it colliding at one absolutely critical moment in time. And that leaves us with the one big final question. All this pressure we've just walked through, this crazy, multi-layered stress, is it going to be the thing that forges them into a resilient championship-winning team, or is it going to be the thing that finally breaks their season? Well, the answer to that was still to be written.